So let's start with getting into our chicken salad. I love putting on gloves whenever I'm dealing with raw meat. Do you do that too? So I'm just getting some organic chicken breast. I pick these up all the time and I share these in grocery hauls from Aldi. I absolutely love it. So I'm just grabbing that. I'm putting that in my Instant Pot. I've shared this recipe before. This time I'm switching it up a little bit, adding some different mix-ins. My family loves this, so I literally make it every single week. It's just the perfect thing to grab and go. You don't have to find, my husband loves it because he doesn't have to find a microwave, and I love it because I can make a huge batch of it and even save some of the rest of the chicken for something else. So right now I'm just adding my seasonings. You can find this video, I'll link it above, or I'll put it in the show notes. I'm just adding some dried onion. I'm adding all of my seasons, some salt, and some, just the things that you add into chicken just to make it taste good and to make it flavorful. And then once I get that in the Instant Pot, it doesn't take long to cook at all. I'm adding some smoked paprika. That just gives it a great flavor. This takes 25 minutes in the Instant Pot. And whenever I'm using chicken breast, I want to add oil to it, some sort of fat, since there's no bone or skin with this. I want to make sure that it doesn't dry out and that it stays nice and moist, especially while it's cooking. I'm going to add the lid, and then we are going to get started on just some of the things I like to do during the week is like filling up the salt, filling up different things around the house. So every time I cook, I try to knock something else out at the same time. I like to kind of layer things that I do. So next up, we don't go through a lot of sugar, but I want to go ahead and grab this and fill it up since I'm going to be making muffins. And next up, we are going to be getting into these gluten-free muffins. I have my bananas right here. I have some organic eggs. I have my coconut oil. I use coconut oil a lot, and I love these sprouted rolled oats. I can't speak. From Costco, and I make my own oat flour. I've also shared that on the channel before, but I'll link it again. But it's really simple. Just grab your favorite rolled oats. Make sure they're gluten-free. I love these because they're glyphosate-free as well. And I just blend those. You need a high-powered blender. I love this Ninja. I've had this Ninja for, oh my gosh, 15 years? Something like that. I think it's like the first one that they ever came out with. So I'm just adding that to my bowl. And you can also find this recipe on my blog. I'm also adding some blanched almond flour. I get that from Costco. My homemade baking powder, I've shared that on this channel as well. I'll link it. And then I'm just adding some sea salt to this. And then I'm adding some of the cinnamon. I'm adding some organic cane sugar. These are very lightly sweetened. Since it already has banana in it, you don't need to add a ton of sugar. And since this is a carb, we don't want to add extra sugar anyways. So I don't add a ton of sugar to my muffins. You could always add more if you like to, but I also have a little trick of a beautiful crust that we're going to get on the top. I'm going to go ahead and add these bananas. I'm going to put this in the microwave for just about 10 seconds. I have 2 eggs, and then I have 2 egg whites. I have some vanilla extract, and I have some of my homemade coconut milk. I've also added that to the channel as well. And then I'm going to add in some coconut milk. Now all my dry ingredients are nice and mixed. I'm just going to add my wet to my dry ingredients. I'm going to mix everything together. And then once all of that's combined, I like to add this to, there's like a lot of silicone baking muffin tins and stuff like that. I don't necessarily like cooking and things like that, so I keep it old school. I'm adding some liners. You could also just grease the muffin tins, but I like to do this because it just, when I'm packing them up for the week, it just keeps them from crumbling everywhere because these are nice and moist. So I'm just adding these, and I sprayed them with some avocado oil spray, and that's just to keep them from sticking. This is what it looks like. We're going to have a baker's dozen, so this is going to make 13 muffins. I love that there's nothing in here but avocado oil. No additional oils are added to that. I get that one from Aldi. So each muffin tin, we're just going to fill it to the top. These are going to be so moist and delicious, packed with fiber. The flavor is so good, and they're just lightly sweetened. So this is something that you could definitely have for breakfast. This is my little trick. I grab 1 tablespoon of sugar and I sprinkle it over all of the muffins. This is going to caramelize and give it a beautiful texture. It's going to give it a nice chew and a nice bit of sweetness without adding too much more sugar. So that is what I like to do. I'm just adding it to each one. This is a trick that I actually learned from my older sister a long time ago. And this is just going to caramelize, and it is going to be so good. We're just going to grab these out of the oven, and I'm just going to place these on, I just want you to see what this looks like. You see that beautiful kind of caramelized sugar on top? This sets them off. Trust me, try it if you've never tried it before. And since I've worked in restaurants, I just grab it with my hands. I feel like I don't even feel heat anymore. So I'm just grabbing these, I'm putting these on a cooling rack, and you can eat these straight out of the oven. I'm going to show you just what it looks like when you break it open. So let's get a little slow-mo here so you can see how this, look at the moist deliciousness. I mean, these are so good. So if you have some extra bananas, make these. Trust me, they're simple, they're delicious, and they're super moist. I like to serve those for my son. I like to put like some peanut butter inside for him. He loves that. So it's like a banana peanut butter. And I am just grabbing a glass bowl, making sure that I like to put things that are going to be hot, especially something like coming straight out of the Instant Pot or the oven, into something glass or stainless steel. So I'm just adding the chicken breast into this glass bowl. I like to use a fork and a knife. There are 101 different ways to shred chicken. This is just the way that I like to do it. Sometimes I use 2 forks. I know people use their stand mixer and do that, but I'm not going that far. I'm going to add all of my ingredients to make my chicken salad. All that chicken is inside the refrigerator cooling off. I add apple cider vinegar. To this one, I'm adding a little bit of sugar, some chosen food mayo. I'm adding Dijon, and I'm adding a little bit of a half tablespoon of Dijon, if I didn't say that. Again, this is already shared on the blog. I'm going to add my shredded chicken I'm actually pulling 2 of these out that I'm going to save for meal prep for something else throughout the week. I'm going to pop that in the freezer. So that is one of my hacks for getting things just done quickly. Next up, we are going to we made our dressing. So now I'm going to take this little chopper. This is my goat in the kitchen. This is my favorite. This is one of my most used pieces of small appliances. One of the things I like to do throughout the week is to wash my produce. I'm not using all of these apples. I'm just washing them. I like to go ahead and get it out of the way. I'm just going to use one for this recipe, and I'm just chopping up some of the organic celery. And this is one of those things that's super versatile. Add whatever you would like, but I'm doing kind of a harvest chicken salad. So it's going to have apples. Granny Smith apples are great here. Fuji apples are great here, but my favorite is Pink Lady apples. So I'm just taking one of those. It adds a sweetness and a crunch and a really delicious texture, as well as some phytonutrients, some fiber, and a little bit of sweetness. And then we're going to bring out that sweetness a little bit more. That one didn't want to, I got a little mad at that one. So we're just going to chop all these up. I'm using the smallest grate, so everything's going to be the same size. And then I'm also adding in a little bit of onion. I really like onion in my chicken salad, and my family really likes it too. So we're just adding just a small amount, about an 1/8 cup, maybe 2 tablespoons of that. Next up, this is when we get fancy, and we're going to take pecans, and we're going to take chopped walnuts, and we're going to take some dried cherries. I get all these from Aldi. You can get them from anywhere you would like. But now that everything's chopped up, we have our onion, our apple, our celery, we have our chilled chicken, and we have our prepared dressing. I'm going to go ahead and start adding in everything. There's no rhyme or reason, add it however you would like, but this is just such a delicious and filling chicken salad. You could eat just this and make a meal out of it. You could add some bread. I love the Simple Mills almond flour crackers. They're gluten-free. I love adding those. You could just put this on top of just a bed of greens if you would like to. It's just so versatile. So add whatever nuts you like. You can double up the pecans if you don't like walnuts. Do you say pecans or pecans? My husband says pecans. I say pecans. We're going to add in the cherries. You could also do dried cranberries or raisins. I've done it all. This is just to switch it up because this is one of the things I prep for the week. And each week I try to make it a little different. So I made this gluten-free oat flour bread. As you can see, it's not perfect, but this is what my family really wanted with this. So I'm going to toast this up and add a little coconut oil to it. Once I perfect that recipe, I will share it. And then we're just adding this to our chicken. Until next time, your life matters. What you do with it matters. So what will you steward well?